Defeating the loneliness monster. You can spend every day surrounded by people and still feel lonely. In fact, some of the loneliest people in the world aren't alone at all. They have friends, they have families, they have coworkers, neighbors, and people who greet them by name. And yet, when the day ends and the noise fades away, they feel an emptiness they can't quite explain. Maybe you felt it too. Maybe someone asked you recently, "How are you?" And you replied, "I'm good." But the truth was more complicated than that. Not because you wanted to lie, but because the real answer felt too heavy, too difficult, too hard to explain in a conversation that was only supposed to last a few seconds. So you smiled and you carried on. Millions of people do exactly the same thing every day. They walk through life appearing connected while quietly feeling alone. And that's what we're talking about today. Not the obvious loneliness of an empty apartment, but the invisible loneliness that can exist even in a crowded room. That kind that hides behind busy schedules, social media posts, family gatherings, and friendly conversations. The kind that whispers, "Nobody really knows me." And if you've ever felt that way, this video is for you. Hello everyone and welcome back to Find Peace and Grow with Mossy. Today I'm going to talk about loneliness and how we can defeat this monster. Part 1. The loneliness nobody warns you about. A few years ago, a man sat across from me in a crowded cafe. From the outside, his life looked full. He had a successful career, a loving family, a busy social life. But after a long pause, he said something I'll never forget. "I don't think anyone really knows me anymore." Not his colleagues, not his friends, not even the people he loved most. And that's when I realized something important. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of connection. You can spend an afternoon alone in nature and feel completely at peace. You can take a long walk by yourself and feel refreshed. You can sit quietly with your thoughts and feel connect. But you can also sit at a dinner table surrounded by people you've known for years and feel as though there is an invisible wall between you and everyone else. Present in the room, absent from the connection. That's the loneliness most people never talk about. Researchers often describe two kinds of loneliness. The first is social loneliness. That's when people are physically absent from your life. It can happen after a move, a breakup, the loss of a loved one, retirement, or any major life change that suddenly removes people from your daily routine. It's painful, but at least it's visible. You can point to it and say, "That's why I feel this way." But the second type is emotional loneliness, and it's often much harder to recognize. because people are still there. Friends are there. Family is there. Co-workers are there. But somehow you still feel unseen, unheard, unknown. You feel as if nobody truly understands the thoughts you carry when you're alone, the fears you don't share, the dreams you rarely talk about, the struggles hidden behind your smile. And here is something worth remembering. Most lonely people don't need more people in their lives. They need one conversation where they don't have to pretend. One person with whom they can be completely themselves. Because the opposite of loneliness is not being surrounded by people, it's being understood. And now, why so many of us feel loneliness today? If loneliness feels heavier than it used to, you're not imagining it. The world has changed. And many of those changes have quietly made real connection harder to find. For most of human history, connection happened naturally. You knew your neighbors. You saw familiar faces every day. You visited local markets. Community gatherings were part of life. You didn't have to search for connection. It was built into your daily routine. But today, many of us live very differently. We work remotely. We order groceries online. We spend evenings staring at screens. We can go days without having a meaningful conversation face to face. Life has become more convenient, but somewhere along the way, many of us became more isolated. We optimized our lives for efficiency and accidentally removed many of the small human interactions that once made us feel connected. Then there is social media, and its effect is deeper than most people realize. When you scroll through your feed, your brain receives tiny signals of social connection. You see faces, you see updates, you see people living their lives, but there is no real exchange, no eye contact, no warmth, no shared silence, no genuine presence. And because people usually share the best moments of their lives, your brain quietly starts comparing. You begin to feel as if everyone else is happier, more connected, more fulfilled, while you are somehow falling behind. So you close the app feeling emptier than before. And because that emptiness feels uncomfortable, you open it again, and it's a cycle many of us know too well. But perhaps the biggest reason loneliness persists is something we rarely discuss. We've forgotten how to be vulnerable. We've become experts at appearing okay. We know how to smile, how to perform confidence, how to say everything's fine, even when it isn't. Real connection requires honesty, It requires allowing someone to see the parts of ourselves that aren't polished, the parts that are uncertain, afraid, confused, human. But many of us fear that if we reveal those parts, people will judge us. So we hide them. And in hiding ourselves from others, we slowly become hidden from ourselves. And now, part 3: what loneliness is actually doing to you. Loneliness is not just an emotional experience, it's a physical one. Your brain evolved in a world where survival depended on belonging to a group. Being isolated often meant danger. So, when loneliness becomes chronic, your body treats it like a threat. Stress hormones rise. Sleep becomes worse. Energy drops. Inflammation increases. Your immune system becomes weaker. And perhaps even more important is what loneliness does to your mind. It changes the way you see the world. When people feel lonely for long periods, they become hyper alert to rejection. A delayed text message suddenly feels personal. A neutral expression looks unfriendly. Silence begins to feel like evidence that nobody cares. And because connection starts feeling risky, people withdraw. They stop reaching out. They stop opening up. They stop taking the very actions that could help them feel connected again. That's why loneliness can become a trap. Not because people want to stay lonely, but because loneliness changes the way they interpret the world around them. And understanding this is important because it reminds us of something crucial. Loneliness is not a personal failure, it's a human experience. Unlike any human experience, it can be changed. Now, how to break the cycle of loneliness? The first step is surprisingly simple. Stop running from the feeling. When loneliness appears, most of us immediately distract ourselves. We grab our phones, turn on a video, open another app, anything to escape the discomfort. But loneliness is a signal, and every signal is trying to tell us something. The next time you feel lonely, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. And ask yourself, what am I actually longing for right now? Not what am I missing? Not why am I lonely? What am I longing for? A meaningful conversation, a sense of belonging, physical closeness, a feeling of being understood. The more specific your answer becomes, the easier it becomes to respond to it. And the second stage is go deeper, not wider. Many people try to solve loneliness by meeting more people, more events, more social media, more conversations. But connection isn't measured by quantity, it's measured by depth. One genuine conversation can become more healing than 100 casual interactions. Think about the people already in your life. Is there someone you've always kept things light with? Someone you've never truly opened up to? What might happen if you shared something honest? What might happen if you ask a question that went one layer deeper? Most people are waiting for someone else to go first. Be that person. And the third step of healing from loneliness is practice small honesty. You don't need to reveal your entire life story. You don't need dramatic confessions. Start small. The next time someone asks, "How have you been?" instead of saying "good," try saying, "Honestly, I've been feeling a little disconnected lately." That's it. Simple, real, human. You may be surprised by what happens next. Often, the other person will respond with their own truth. And suddenly, a conversation becomes a connection. And the fourth step of healing from loneliness is build rituals, not occasions. Meaningful relationships rarely survive on good intentions alone. Life gets busy. People get distracted. Months pass. So don't rely on spontaneity. Create rituals. A weekly phone call, a monthly dinner, a Sunday talk, a recurring coffee with a friend. Something consistent, something expected. Because one of the greatest antidotes to loneliness is knowing that your presence matters in someone's routine. And now, the fifth step of healing from loneliness. Find people through shared purpose. Many of the strongest adult friendships begin while doing something together. Volunteering, learning, creating, playing sports, walking towards a common goal. Shared purpose creates connection naturally, not through forced conversations, but through shared experiences. Show up consistently. Give it time. Friendship often grows quietly before you even notice it. And finally, the sixth step. Make peace with your own company. This may be the most important step of all. Many people fear being alone because they have never learned to enjoy their own presence. They constantly fill every moment with noise, music, videos, notifications, distractions. But there is a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. When you become comfortable with yourself, solitude becomes a place of rest rather than a place of fear. Take a walk without your phone. Write in journal. Sit quietly with a cup of tea. Learn to listen to your own thoughts. The better you know yourself, the less alone you feel, even when nobody else is around. And finally, ask for help when you need it. If loneliness has been part of your life for a long time, please don't carry it alone. Talking to a therapist is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage. Sometimes we all need someone who can help us see the patterns we can't see ourselves. Someone who can listen without judgment. Someone who can help us reconnect with ourselves and others. There is a strength is asking for help. Never forget it. And my dears, before you leave, I want you to remember one thing. Loneliness is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're human. It's your heart reminding you that connection matters. You don't need hundreds of friends. You don't need a perfect social life. You don't need everyone to understand you. You only need the courage to let one person see the real you. So, send that message. Make that call. Answer "How are you?" with something honest. One conversation won't change your entire life, but it might change someone's day. And sometimes that's where healing begins. One honest moment, one real connection, one small step toward the light. If this video spoke to you, let me know in the comments. When do you feel loneliness most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please take good care of yourself and your peace. And I'll see you next week with next video.